half the time, it's not the young brother living in poverty in the projects. No, these be the youngsters that live in the suburbs whose families have deep six-figure incomes. Mama make 300,000, daddy make $500,000 a year, but he is so devoid of an identity.
Right. And he trying to portray something that he ain't never been, no have no concept of.
Well, see, he living not in 5,000 square foot house in Pearland.
Right.
But when he goes around his peers and they ask him, where you from? He don't want to claim Pearland. So what does he do? He said, I'm from Fifth Ward. Because that's where his granny lived.
Right.
That's where his mom and his daddy grew up. Because he building his identity. And because his mama and his daddy still together and his life don't look like NBA young boys, he ashamed of the fact.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I know. He's ashamed of the fact that he lives in a 2-parent household.
Right.
He's ashamed of the fact that his family got 3-4 cars.
Right.
Why? Because they'll always be able to accuse him of not getting it out the mud.
Right.
Oh, you had this handed to you.
Right.
So these are some of the really peculiar dynamics that I'm finding in these cases that I'm dealing with. So a lot of these youngsters, they have a lot of options and a lot of opportunity, but they are choosing the streets.
Feel me? There ain't nothing wrong with me, feel me? Nigga, you just hating, feel me? That's why you ain't never gonna have no paper, ain't never gonna have no bitches, feel me?
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. It's been a minute. I got a lot going on. So this is about the suburban wannabe. You can say because of hip hop and just black culture in general that poverty versus upper class lifestyle is completely different. But now you're seeing more black suburban kids who are ashamed to be suburban kids, and for some odd reason, they think crashing out or doing crash out material in life is going to make them, real or realer or more hood, and it doesn't. And I can't say we haven't seen this before, in my age, but because when it wasn't a lot of us in the suburbs, we saw white suburban kids playing that role in the suburbs, but they wouldn't be around. They wouldn't come to the hood with that, right? So you would see them, out where, let's just say, events where people from the hood and some people from the suburbs might cross paths, and they knew, like, okay, what I'm doing in my neighborhood, I'm not doing that around them because this might not end well. So over the years, black people, more black folks, more of us went from poverty to the middle class to the upper class or whatever. And you've seen it. You've seen it a lot where a lot of the kids who are now adults, and some of them are kids, teenagers, they're playing this game where I just gotta be hood. I'm ashamed to be from and live in a good neighborhood. And it's like, oh, okay. Because I'm not going to say they're ashamed to go to a good school, because a good school is relative. People assume that good schools are in the suburbs, but it's some good schools. Not just all the suburbs don't have good schools. But the dumb decision making of, you got black folks who think being black is acting dumb or lean into the underworld. Like, let me say it this way also. People know what I'm talking about when I say this: gang culture. There are a lot of people who were not in gang culture that found their way to gang culture. You had a lot of, guys who wound up being 21, 25 Now people damn near 30 and 30, like I'm gonna get put on. Like what? Man, if you don't get up out of here, now you're a grown man and you want to be a gangster. Just say you a loser. Okay? Stop acting like, man, I got that's part of my black experience. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, and there was a time where people who played that game, they really got stumped out. You know, people want I'm representing this, and it's like, no, you're not, bro. Get out of here before you get hurt. Get out of here. You know, and I can say that even in the gang culture, you have gang. Like I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and you know, you come to the South and you see people repping the gang. I'm like, boy, if them dudes knew you was out here doing this, you think y'all would just have some friendly camaraderie? No, they'll break your face. I don't care that you think it's cool and you know you repped it and you know I went to the neighborhood and they told me I was cool. Man, shut up. You know those are the type of people who wound up getting sent to jail because you know they used you as a crash dummy because you know I'm gonna prove myself. And here's the other thing, even the stereotype of the hood and people got into hood shenanigans and in the underworld and criminality because they all came from poor families. Nope, nope, nope. There were a lot of kids who were really spoiled and they had a good family, good support system, but they were spoiled. So they chose to go the street route to act like they wasn't spoiled. You get what I'm saying? You know what? How can I say this? They get I got a house, but I'm gonna burn down the house so I can get it out the mud because that's really who I am, and that don't never really work out. They wind up getting crushed by that ideology, and then there's nobody else to blame. Now, it's another aspect of this I got to talk about. Um, a lot of times when you get down to the hood, quote unquote, quote unquote hood mentality, a lot of y'all were just stupid. You were in school and you were stupid. You didn't pay attention in class. You didn't get good grades. You didn't have a direction that you were going anywhere with your life. So you know what? I'm gonna choose the street life. And it's like, all right. Then and the other folks, um, you didn't, you wasn't athletic. So you was either super skinny or overweight or, and scared of contact and physicality. So, you mad because you young and, your testosterone is going, but you really don't want no problems like that in an athletic way where you can compete and get it and get that aggression out. So what you do is, you know, let me get in the streets and hope maybe jump a few people and get a gun and pull out a gun and be like, yeah, this is what it is. And y'all don't realize, those type of cats they get when they get locked up, it don't go well for them at all because they weren't never built for that lifestyle. That's why you see them super skinny and it's like, yeah, okay, somebody gonna run up in you, boy. Or they super fat and it's like you ain't got the energy to keep to fight for yourself. You tripping, And then there's this other aspect of it where y'all think being hood to get you the girls. So I'm gonna just do this hood stuff to get the girls, and it's like, okay. And you see the same people who had their mentality complaining about the girls that they was chasing. It's like, no, that's what you. No, no, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that because it's that the hood fantasy, the hood mentality, the hood ideology, whatever you want to call it. And then you know, there's this other part of it where guys are just lazy. You know, a lot of you cats don't realize it, but guys don't really want to work. So let me stall and procrastinate at being an adult by just acting like I'm a gang member or some hood dude. So, I'm just passing the time. It wound up not working. Partially that's why you see so many people young cats go down the avenue of rapping, and you can see why. You can see most of these cats can't rap. And, you know, everybody, like, I'm gonna just say 80% of these rappers talk about drug life. The vast majority of them came from good families, and truth be told, um, the reason they rapping about the drug life because they was lazy. Ain't no money in it. You know, if the drug life was such a good deal, you would have less rappers rapping about drugs and more drug dealers, making money dealing drugs. Common sense would tell you that, oh, well, these people ain't really out here making money like that. Because the minute they feel like, if well, this ain't working for me, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be a rapper. I was selling nose. I was selling keys. Shut up. Just shut up. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the people who um, they don't tell you about the other part. You came from a good family. You decided to go down a path of doing dumb stuff, and you don't want to tell them how much your family had to pay for your dumb stuff. Your family had to pay them lawyer fees. Your family had to come visit you because your partners, they ain't doing it. Family had to put money on your books, right? Um, so it became an issue. So now we got this issue where, because it's that way, the family had to sometimes leverage their home, and y'all just out here crashing out. That gets old, man. And all because I'm ashamed to be from a good area. And then those same people years later go, man, you know what? I should have paid attention in school, man. I should have actually put forth the effort when I was playing sports. I don't even know why I was doing all that street stuff. I was just being young and rebellious because I felt like, my family had enough money to bail me out of my dumb decisions. So at the end of the day, man, y'all want to go down that path? What's going to wind up happening is you're going to go so far that you can't never come back. That's why you see so many um, grown people that are in the hood, and then you do a background check. You be like, oh, so you went from the burbs to the hood. You went from the upper class to the hood. You wasn't in the hood and raised in the hood and stayed in the hood. No, no, no. You went down because you didn't go up. You didn't take it up another level in life. You went down a level in life because I just wanted to be so hood. That's why some of these parents, some of y'all kids don't realize y'all hood parents ain't really from the hood. And then y'all notice that sometimes when y'all go around y'all the family, and y'all looking around like, yeah, oh yeah, we grew up in this area, in this house, in this neighborhood, in this family. And you start looking at your parents and like, yeah, I was the one that's, I was attracted to the life. And what that means is you was attracted to poverty because everybody else wasn't attracted to poverty. You was. You wanted to see if you could survive with the poor folk, and you became the poor folk. And now, when it all boils down, years later, people realize, oh, you just a loser. And for some people, the hood the hood veneer is all they got. You get what I'm saying? So, and you could tell that's why you see so many quote unquote hood people who are overly sensitive, scared of the dumbest things. I'm scared of needles. I'm scared of thunder. I'm scared of dogs. I'm scared of, just dumb stuff because they was good kids from good families, and they were spoiled, and they really didn't have any harsh issues. So they still got these dumb hangups as adults. I'm scared of blood. I'm scared of shut up. But I'm gonna leave it at that, man. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.